As always, just so incredible to have this space to plug into as a community of HSPs in business and leadership. We are here today to focus on the topic of intuitive planning day preparation, the science of intuition, and the heart's pivotal role. The science of intuition and the heart's pivotal role. So yesterday I was getting ready to go work out and this song was running through my head. You have to forgive my singing voice. And my head was like, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Why do I have that song in my head? And then I was like, oh, because we're just a couple weeks out from Intuitive Planning Day. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And then this morning I was doing my energy management and I just felt like this overall like incredible sense of like dread and like weight in my belly. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. What is this like sense of dread about? And then I was like, oh, we're 2 weeks out from Intuitive Planning Day. All to say, it is both and. It is both the beauty and the brilliance of being called to rise up into the power of our HSP intuition. And it is also the scary aspect of being called to rise up into the power of our intuition. So in the name of Intuitive Planning Day prep, both art and science, what is the value of Intuitive Planning Day? And more specifically, what is the value of the 4Q intuitive plan? So I'd like to just share a little bit about like where intuitive planning originated from, what it provides, why it's important, and how it's created. And I'll just share that again. So where it originated, what it provides, why it's important, and how it is created. So where it originated, probably most of you, if not all of you, have heard the origin story of intuitive planning. Either you were there in person or you've heard it from me in a share on a weekly training roundtable or via a track leadership recording. Very briefly, intuitive planning started for me over a decade ago, really in those first few years of being self-employed for myself. I would attend these business trainings, these conferences, and believe me, especially at that time, they were so of the other 80%. I would show up at these trainings and these conferences and these big, huge ballrooms, and it would be absolutely freezing. And I would be wrapped in like 3 pashminas. There would be these big binders of all of these laminated charts and handouts, and there would be PowerPoints, and there was a lot of clapping and a lot of high-fiving and really loud music. And I would usually like start off like kind of close to the front, and then by the end of the conference, I would be like huddled in like a back right-hand corner, like just help me get through this. I'd go home and I'd have all of this crap, excuse my language, and I would be like, what just happened? And what did I just learn? And what the hell do I do with all of this? And just by nature, my own instinct, my own intuition, I was guided to just put it all out in front of me, place my hands on my heart, really connect in and be led to what it is that I was meant to be focusing on, as well as the way that I was meant to be focusing on it. And that was really the beginning of intuitive planning. It felt secretive. It felt a little bit shameful. It felt weird. Definitely not something that I could share with anybody, and definitely not something that I was going to teach until one day in 2018. And we held a planning session when we had in-person training retreats for members who were a part of a program at that time referred to as Elite and Eminence. in my heart, I had already received the guidance, you're meant to share intuitive planning day. My brain, my head brain was like, absolutely not. This tug pull went back and forth. I landed on absolutely not. And then I stepped in front of the members at that training, and out of my mouth came intuitive planning. And we've never turned back. And the intuitive plan has continued to hone and crystallize and develop. Now, one thing that I haven't shared previously about this origin story is back in those days when I would attend those 80%er trainings and conferences, and I was led to connect in with my heart. I had never at that time heard of the Heart Math Institute. It was just what I was naturally led to do. It was only years later, after sharing it with the community, where I was like, you know what, I should probably see if I can figure out what the hell this is. And is there any research to back what's happening here? And that led me to the Heart Math Institute. I share that to really emphasize that those early days for myself and those early days of originally sharing it with the community was my own intuition, my own power of my heart, and my willingness to hear, to listen, and to act. I didn't wait to have it be proven to me. It was my own natural instinct, and then later came the follow-up of the research. Let's take a breath in and let it out. So that's where it originated. What the 4Q intuitive plan provides. More than anything, it provides this, and I'm going to ask you to write this down, a container for consistency. And I'm going to share that again. A container for consistency. Specifically, a container for the consistency of the core practice of accessing your HSP intuition, the power of your heart, every week. In the same way, like I did yesterday, that I go to the gym and I work out with my personal trainer every week. I don't go just once. I don't go when I feel like it. I don't go just because it's a nice day out. I go because I recognize that the value of consistency is what keeps the muscles in my physical body strong. By turning to your 4Q intuitive plan on a weekly basis, this is the re-return and the continuing strengthening of your intuition. Now, for myself, it's been amazing to personally watch and witness how my intuition has increased regarding speed and accuracy since those early years of attending those conferences and trainings. Why? Because of my consistent commitment to the core practice of strengthening and using this muscle. So back in the day, it had to be a big production, putting out all of that information in front of me, lighting candles, turning on music, doing some ums and some ohs and some ohms. And now it's in and I can take action. Do I get it all the time? No, I absolutely still have moments of doubt and mistrust and questioning, but the length with which I receive the guidance and then I take action on the guidance has shortened exponentially, even when there is moments of missing the mark. Still, it's short to be able to get myself to re-return. So that's what it provides most importantly, a container for consistency, the core practice of accessing your HSP intuition, the power of your heart. What the 4Q intuitive plan also provides is a container for consistency when it comes to the 8 business miracles trifecta. Please write that down. Again, a container for consistency of the HSP Business Miracles trifecta. What is that trifecta? 1 is a 12-month business leadership goal. That's the where you want to be 12 months from now. 2, the 90-day benchmark goals. that you're currently working on and the upcoming 90-day benchmark goals. That's the what actions to be taken. Now you're available to develop those 12-month business leadership goal, that 12-month business leadership goal, and those 90-day benchmark goals as part of connection with your HSL Plus one-on-one coach and or on a quarterly check-in call with a Business Miracles coach, if you choose. Those are two tools that are available in the Business Miracles community and the highly sensitive leadership training programs, if you choose. The third is your 4Q intuitive action week by week. That's the way to take the actions guided by your heart and intuition. The Business Miracle, HSP Business Miracles trifecta, 12-month goal, 90-day benchmark goal, 4Q intuitive action week by week. If you choose. Why it's important. 4Q intuitive planning reduces HSP overwhelm and resistance by leaning into your HSP strength of intuition and creativity. I'll say it again. Why it's important. It reduces HSP overwhelm and resistance by leaning into HSP intuition and creativity. And now here's what's really interesting about this. I hear from members all the time, new members and seasoned members, meaning you've been in the community for a while. I hear from members all the time. This is what I hear. I want to do things differently. The way of the other 80% isn't working for me. And then I don't get this whole intuitive planning thing. This isn't like anything I've ever done before. Is this really going to get me what I want? And then there's this period of resistance and avoidance and disappointment until it's so bad that the HSP finally opens to their heart. So the question is, how long do you want to do that dance? There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no judgment, definitely not from me. But it is a very serious question, to ask yourself. How long do you want to do that dance? I want to do things differently, but I'm not willing to do things differently. I don't want to do things like the other 80%, but is it really going to work if I don't do things like the other 80%? So how long do you want to do that dance? Breath in and let it out. How it's created through a proprietary process that I lead during Intuitive Planning Day. And that proprietary process is the inner and outer approach of HSP in business and leadership. And this is why you absolutely want both.